Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. All right. I'm going to say a couple things that may seem crazy right now. And feel free to tell me I'm an idiot. Everybody always tells me I'm an idiot anyway. Oh, sorry. My glasses are flashing here. Just a couple observations. As the season has evolved and gone downhill, some of the things that we saw that were happening that we were just like, oh man, this is just terrible. We stink. There's no, we have to start over. I mean, we looked at everybody on the defense and just said, we need a whole complete new defense. Amari Cooper, that was a waste of money. D-Law, he stinks, get him out of here. Let's trade that guy. Zeke Elliott, he's past his prime, and so forth. We've got all of these different observations and things. But as the season's gone on, since D-Law basically said, we're soft, D-Law has played markedly better, okay? He's gotten 5.5 sacks since that time. He had no sacks before that time. Zeke Elliott, he's had a down year. There's no way you look at Zeke Elliott and say, that guy's done. But last week, understand, he got 105 yards, 93 of it after contact. That was the first game that you looked at and said, okay, yeah, there's my running back. Our offensive line has been destroyed. We've got guys that were undrafted free agents, rookies that were starting, in Terrence Steele. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that our offensive line is good, but I'd say it's at least serviceable. I mean, we had Zeke with 100 yards last week. The week before, we had Tony Pollard with over 125 combined. And you're doing enough that you can compete on the offensive line side of the ball. And I look at this and say, okay, if you're getting a Lyle Collins, you're getting Zach Martin are going to be added to that, and Tyron Smith for however much he can play if he can come back, all of a sudden that offensive line is a lot better. So you look at that and say, okay, yeah, we don't need too much on the offense. I definitely want to invest in another offensive lineman without a doubt. Maybe a future tackle that maybe he starts at right tackle. You move Lyle Collins to guard, but you can play those games. Like I said, on the defense, you look at now Randy Gregory, the way he's playing like a man possessed. And you look and say, wow. That guy had the best grade last week of any defensive end. And you look at that and say, well, if he can stay on the field, we got something there. And now the D-Law's coming around and say, okay, the outside bookends aren't bad. And we're starting to see the Canadian bulldozer. So your defensive line isn't as bad as you would have thought. When we had Emerson Griffin and Dontari Poe, you were like, oh my God, D-Law is terrible. We need to get him out of there. We looked at this and said, Aldon Smith was the only good piece that we had. Now, we're still a ways away on that defense, but we're not as far away as we think. But the thing that's amazing to me, and it just hit me today because here we are, the last week of December, and December's over with as far as us playing any games. But we're 3-0 in December. Let me say it again. We're 3-0 in December. I think we only have 3. Did we only have 3 games? Or did we have 4 games? How many games do we have? Oh, let me look it up. See, now I'm confused. But the reason I'm saying this is the Dallas Cowboys, one thing that we used to could never do under Jason Garrett, and this is not by any means trying to throw Jason Garrett under the bus. I'm not. No, I forgot the Ravens game. Okay, so we're 3-1 in December because we had the Ravens. Okay, 3-1 right now for December, which is a lot better than what it used to be. Because the way it used to be with Jason Garrett was we would start out gangbusters. September, October. Remember when they used to say that Tony Romo couldn't win in December? I'm not going to put it all on Tony Romo because I got to tell you, D-Law, by the end of the season, usually was kind of battered. I'm sorry, not D-Law. DeMarcus Lawrence was kind of battered towards the end of the seasons. And DeMarcus Lawrence, most of the times, would get most of his sacks early on. It was late in the season that he didn't get that much going. And so you saw the team fail in December. We'd always get to December where, remember, we had 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, and it was basically win and get in, and we could never win and get in. Yeah, maybe we're beginning to become that team that's reversing what we used to do, because you don't win Super Bowls in September. You can lose them in September, but you've looked at now the Dallas Cowboys being a team that plays better late in the season. And that's key, because you want to be peaking at the end of the season. It's great if if you're blowing people away in September, but if you can't beat them in December, it doesn't matter. And maybe this team is going to be a late team. In the same way we start out slow in the first quarter, maybe we're playing better in the second half of the season, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, back to the offensive line. If worst case scenario with our offensive line is we, don't get anybody on offensive line, because here's the problem. You only have so many picks that you can have. You can only do so many things. Almost constantly, we're always working the offense. The offense clearly is the strength of this team. If we don't go for an offensive lineman first round, there's not a great game-changing offensive lineman, and we say, you know what, we're looking for that pass-rushing beast, another defensive tackle that we put next door to the Canadian Bulldozer, and we look at an offensive lineman down the draft. Because here's my problem. I keep thinking this in my mind. If Tyron Smith comes back, and we'll probably know what kind of shape he's going to be in before the draft. If he's coming back, if you draft somebody in the first round, they need to be somebody who is starting. They need to be an impact player from day one. And if Tyron Smith is coming back and La'el Collins is coming back, are we going to draft a guy to sit on the bench? Because that's what we're talking about. Unless you're going to take La'el Collins and make him a guard and get a guy for a tackle and put him out at right tackle, I don't know that we do that. So am I crazy? Am I crazy to look at this offensive line right now and say, okay, we've got some depth because of the experience that we've got with guys. Maybe we re-sign, Joe Looney and we keep him as a backup guard and tackle. Or maybe we, like I said, we get that other tackle and, slide La'el Collins down to guard, and then you've got Connor Williams and Zach Martin. Connor Williams can be a swing tackle guard. Is that the craziest thing? Maybe I need to talk to Vosh on that one. I know Vosh is going to say offensive line, just every pick, draft an offensive line. And that's what Vosh will say. But I'm trying to look at how I can get the biggest bang for the buck. We know we got an offense that even with Andy Dalton right now, we scored 30 points against the Bengals. We scored 41 against the 49ers. We scored 37 against the Eagles. If you're scoring that kind of points, you're supposed to win if you have even a competent defense. So if I'm going to spend my draft capital, I'm going to spend it trying to make that defense getting closer to that offense. Let me know what you guys think in here. Tell me if I'm crazy on this one, but I think we really and truly may need to wait just a little bit in that draft to get that offensive lineman. Can't wait for Sunday to get here. Seems like this week is going by so slow, so slow. All right, y'all. Got to do some more work here, and I'll be talking to you a little bit later. Peace.